Hi, everybody.
Welcome to More Than Money's broadcast of Integrity Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm Mark Minnella.
I'm Stephen Balance.
And we're glad you're with us as we talk about everything financial from a biblical point of view, with an emphasis on investing with biblical integrity, since this is Integrity Tuesday.
Yeah.
And with that said, I'd like to share with you, normally we try not to do shows that are time sensitive.
Okay.
Where they're like, what happened in this day and nobody wants to watch it. But I thought this would be a good time to be talking about technical indicators and how people manage money. And don't click this off. It might be a good show. You might find something interesting. The reason being is recently at Integrity Investors, one of our major indicators, the one we use to measure the temperament of the market, the disposition of the market would be a better way to say that, switched from positive to negative.
That doesn't sound good at all.
No, it depends. If you're shorting the market, it's a good thing.
Oh.
But if you're not, if you're like most people who are buying into the stock market to watch it go up, it could be a concern. And I say concern, and I don't want anybody to panic, because it could switch back in a day or two just as easy. Even though this is a longer term indicator, it does have short bursts here and there.
Okay.
But it's called the bullish percent. And what we do is we measure the number of stocks on the New York Stock Exchange that are on a buy signal. And that buy signal is proprietary to us. Everybody has different ways of deciding what a buy signal is, but we have certain criteria we use with a lot of research we do to decide if a stock's on a buy signal or not. A lot of it is using point and figure charting and things like that, which most people listening don't care about. But anyway, the point is that this is an indicator that the markets are at least concerned.
Well,
and
okay.
And it's a wake-up call. When this happens at Integrity Investors, what we do is we start practicing what we call our drill, our lifeboat drills. And what that means is that we start looking at, if the markets do start to tumble down, what are we holding that we should get rid of, that we should throw overboard because it really doesn't stay afloat on its own. The weak stocks, the weaker holdings. And what holdings would we want to hold on to because they have potential even in down markets? See, different assets do react differently to different dispositions in the market. And I'm telling everybody this today because I just want people to be awake and aware that the markets aren't where they were last year. A lot more has been poured into the market. A lot of stocks may be overbought, and we've been seeing a pullback. And at this point, that pullback hit the point to where we're actually seeing more stocks are becoming a sell than a buy on the New York Stock Exchange. The trend is moving that way.
Okay.
We have at least a 6% reduction in the amount of stocks that are on a sell signal in the New York Stock Exchange. So just awake, be watching. It doesn't mean to panic. It doesn't mean the world's going to end, but it's one indicator we use. And that's what I really wanted to talk about. In my new book, The Wall Street Awakening, I have a chapter in there about how to manage money, whether you do it for yourself or whether you use somebody to do it, like a professional to do it. And one of the things that's true no matter what is who's ever managing money should have a plan, a system, a way to decide what is worth buying and what needs to be sold at any time. And at Integrity Investors, we have a system, FTB, and that stands for Fundamental, Technical, and Biblical Analysis, FTP analysis. It's unique to Integrity Investors. It's our own system that we put together. And not everybody will do this kind of thing, but you should at least have some sort of criteria to rate, rank, and decide if something is buyable or not. It could be something real simple like watching 50-day moving average over a 200-day moving average. Or it might be that you just want to invest in good companies that do good things, that have solid cash flows. Some people look at cash flows, some look at profit earnings, PE ratios. You should have something, and you should get familiar with some basic fundamental and technical ideas, and which anybody can do online or anywhere. There's 1,000,000 books, but I talk about some of those in my book, not in depth because this book isn't about technical and fundamental analysis. It's more about biblical analysis and helping people invest with biblical integrity. So we at Integrity Investors use a thing we call FTB analysis: fundamental, technical, and biblical.
Yeah.
All three are important, and all three do something different. In fact, the fundamental and the biblical help us decide what to own. Okay, what I mean by that is we have some criteria we set up, as every investor should, that tells us, if a stock is over leveraged, meaning it's borrowing so much money it can barely make its payments, we don't want that stock. There's problems in that stock. There's certain criteria we use, fundamental criteria, on its cash flows, on its debt ratios, on its future outlook, on its pipeline, they call it, the sales pipeline and whatever. So we have some of those set aside, and we look for stocks that fit into those categories and don't exceed outside of that, because those are what we consider fundamentally strong companies. It doesn't mean a company that has negative cash flows and isn't making any money can't grow in the market. We see that all the time. Amazon did that for years. Yeah. We see companies like Edit, which is a CRISPR biotech firm that has done that. It's losing money, millions, all the time, but the value of the company keeps growing. And at some point, it'll have a product out, and maybe at that point, like Amazon, we'll start seeing profits and solidifying. But that's called speculation more than investment. And I don't have any problems with people who want to speculate as long as they know what they're doing. And realize that it could go just as easily the other way, and it needs a lot more hand-holding and review to be in that kind of stock. So anyway, fundamentals tell us whether a company is strong or weak in its financial abilities and its abilities to penetrate the market and its competition. Technicals, well, another indicator we use another thing we do is the biblical analysis. And that tells us whether we want to partner or become a partner, an owner in that company.
Well, the biblical is actually the very first thing that we look for, too.
Well, sure it is. It doesn't matter how strong a company is or technically sound. If it's not in alignment with God's word on who we should be partnering with or who we should be hanging with, we won't buy it. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about screening for biblical principles, like screening to make sure that the company does not harm people physically, mentally, like through addiction or using and abusing people. Things like abortion, pornography, anti-family entertainment, anti-Christian entertainment, anti-God concepts. We screen for those things. That's the biblical. We don't want to partner with companies that are bringing that kind of ugliness into the world. We only want to partner with God's money, as a steward, utilizing God's money, our investment money. Money is blessed each and every one of us with. We only want to use that money in a way that would honor Him and glorify Him. Use it as an act of worship as well as a way to create more wealth, to help with individuals' personal financial goals, and also to grow that money to be conduits to others. So the fundamentals and the biblical analysis we do helps us to create a pool of investments that we can then use the technical to decide, is it time to buy or is it time to sell? So effectively, fundamentals and biblical are like the left hand on the piano, and technicals are like on the right. Either one of them is helpful, but if you put them together, you get much better music from some people. So anyway, FTB analysis, that's what we do here. And if you don't do any analysis for yourself, you may want to consider having a professional do it for you. If your broker or your investment advisor doesn't understand technical analysis or biblical responsible analysis or fundamental, we can do that for you for free. We'll screen your portfolio and give you a report on what you're holding, what it's involved in, what are the fundamental strengths and weaknesses, and what are the technicals telling us about buy or hold or sell at this point. Happy to do that for you. You just need to contact us at 314-212-1404.
Yeah, or if they want their portfolio screened, they can go to the Integrity Investors website.
Right.
And
put the symbols in there, and we'll do it for you. be happy to do it for you. And again, that's a full FTP analysis that we would do, and maybe just maybe when you get that, it might tweak your heart a little bit. Hopefully there's nothing in it ugly, but if the biblical analysis comes out wrong, I mean, what is the number one phrase we hear from new clients?
I just didn't know.
I just didn't know. When they find out that their portfolio is 30% in companies either profiting from or promoting abortion or pornography or something like that, they just didn't know. Nobody told them before. When we open their eyes to that, most people want to move on to something that they can profit from without compromising their relationship with God. And there's so many things I could say about that, but we have these every week, so we'll talk more. The idea is that if we're true believers, if we trust Jesus Christ as our salvation, we know that God is the owner of everything, and we are stewards of everything. How we use that money to care for our family and to care for others is what stewardship's all about. How we invest that money is part of stewardship, as well as how we earn it, spend it, and give it. So if it's all God's, we really want to make sure whatever we're investing in, buying stocks in, for example, which makes us an owner and therefore partnering with others in this, we want to make sure that it's something that God would be comfortable partnering with.
Now, Mark, that kind of sounds like maybe you took that from something like a book.
Like a
something.
book.
Like a book.
Yeah, well, it's all in my new book, The Wall Street Awakening. And if you're interested in this book, you can go out to the wallstreetawakening.com. Pre-orders it's still taking pre-orders, which are signed copies until the date the book is released, which is like any day now.
It should be, yeah.
Yeah, we're hoping to see them shipped any day now. So until then, all orders at thewallstreetawakening.com, I will be signing personally for you.
And get ready for the future, because we're actually planning some book signings here around St. Louis.
Down in Branson, we're at the Ozark Music Festival doing a talk on stewardship, and then we have several other things coming up very shortly.
Yeah.
So.
And if you want perhaps Mark to talk to, maybe speak at your church, speak even for a small group, personal book signings, again, feel free to give us a call, contact us. We'd be more than happy to.
Be honored.
So, well, thank you, Mark, for that insight.
Well, honored. And I'm looking forward to getting back together next Tuesday as we talk about everything financial from a biblical perspective.
All right.
God bless everyone.